Hey, congratulations. It's really exceptional that you've made it this far. Because deep down, what were the chances that you would be alive? I don't mean here, in front of a screen, but simply to be alive. First of all, for you to exist, the twists of fate or chance had to bring your parents together in this vast world. That they ended up talking to each other, chose each other, among thousands of other possibilities, that they liked each other, were attracted to each other, enough to want to see each other more than once, and finally, after some time, ended up having a child. A child whose chances of being born, before your parents ever met, were estimated at 1 in 40 million according to the calculations of the researcher Ali Benazir. You have all already won the greatest lottery there is, except that you are not just any child, and your parents could very well have given birth to someone other than you. Because out of the 300,000 gametes your mother had at puberty, and the trillions of sperm your father produced in a year, only the combination of 2 of them could make you, you. You are the result of the fusion of just one of those eggs and just one of those genetically unique sperm. Ali estimates that the probability of you being born, once your parents had already met, was 1 in 400 quadrillion. At that level, it's no longer luck, it's sheer audacity. Except that your parents' existence depends on their parents, which depends on their parents, all of whom, without exception, reproduced for hundreds of thousands of generations. And going back to the earliest known hominid, Ali estimates the odds that this lineage remained unbroken to reach you at 1 in 10 to the power of 45,000, which is 10 followed by 45,000 zeros. A number so huge that it's not only bigger than the estimated number of atoms in the universe, but also bigger than that number if every atom in the universe contained its own universe filled with just as many atoms. Except that for each of your ancestors to be born, a unique sperm and a unique egg had to combine. And this happened every single time. And if even the slightest thing about any of your great-grandparents had been different, then their children and their grandchildren would have been different too, and so on all the way down to you. And today, you would be someone else. In your lineage, it would have taken just one time for you not to be here. By applying this principle to every generation before you, from whom you descend over 3 million years, in a billiard game with 10 to the power of 45,000 cushions, the researcher comes to the incredibly tiny number of 1 chance in 10 to the power of 2,640,000 for you to exist. A number that makes you hesitate between being fascinated or panicked. The exit from this course is at the top right of your browser. Except that Ali stopped his calculation around the most distant ancestor of the Homo genus that we know, but we could still continue the story. Because many wonderful accidents have happened to go from being a primordial unicellular organism without a nucleus to a hairless primate gifted with reason. Over spans of time that saw mountains form and disappear, seas fill and close, the millions of ancestors who came before you slowly evolved, testing thousands of shapes and colors, before eventually, through a ripple effect, arriving at you, alive and enough, and intelligent enough to know it. Some of them developed fins, laid eggs, lived underwater or out in the open air, dug holes to live hidden underground. They were thin, fat, or covered in hair, or had claws, gills, or scales. And in each of those lives, every one of your ancestors, on both sides, had to be attractive enough, strong enough, or persistent enough to manage to reproduce again and again over millions of generations to finally lead to you. Every creature in your lineage, without exception, managed to survive epidemics or meteorites and pass on their genetic heritage at least once, so that today you are here. The last link in an unbroken chain of life, an extraordinary adventure that began nearly 4 billion years ago. And if you think about how many times it was a close call, a bad encounter, a missed bite, a poorly landed fall, or a bullet in the trenches could have broken the chain, then you realize that we are all wonderful accidents, and that's what Ali wanted to show. Because if the probability that you exist just as you are today is almost 0, well, that's super cool. That makes you infinitely rare and therefore precious. Like all living beings on Earth at this moment, who are also the result of an incredible story whose echo is written in DNA, except you're not just anyone, you are someone. And since you are already alive, your probability of existing is 1. It's a miracle to be alive. Hats off to you for making it this far. 5 years before I was born, my father lived there, and on a whim, he decided to move to another region by throwing a dart at the map of France. The dart landed here, in the city where my mother lived. Share with us the happy coincidences that allowed you to be born. Support us on Tipeee and join the chain. Because it's thanks to you that we'll be able to have kids.